Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? This iconic question not only echoes through the enchanted mirror of Disney's beloved 1937 classic Snow White, but also beckons us to delve deeper into the origins of this timeless tale. Beyond the whimsical animation lies a history rich with darkness and intrigue, one that was first penned by the Brothers Grimm in 1812. In the heart of these two narratives lies a stark contrast, one adorned with laughter, singing, and a happily ever after, and the other, a chilling account of envy, betrayal, and the struggle for survival. As we peel back the layers of fantasy, we uncover a haunting truth. The folklore that inspired Snow White may have been born from the whispers of two real-life women, their lives woven into the fabric of history and myth. Join me as we embark on a journey through the enchanted forests of literature and legend, where the lines between reality and fiction blur, and where the true origins of Snow White await discovery. Welcome back, Darklings. Before we explore the real-life origins of Snow White, let's first examine the unsettling original version of the tale. A common misconception is that the story of Snow White was created by the Grimm Brothers. In reality, Snow White is a traditional German folklore tale popularized by the Grimm Brothers, who collected and published it, along with numerous others. As librarians in Kassel, the brothers found themselves amidst a pivotal moment in history. In 1806, William I, Elector of Hesse, fell to the forces of Napoleon Bonaparte, leading to the designation of Kassel as the capital of the newly formed Kingdom of Westphalia, with Jerome Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, installed as king. At this point in history, Germany was splintered into 39 states, and the German language faced fragmentation due to the proliferation of diverse influences and dialects. Fearing the erosion of German identity and cultural heritage, the Grimms embarked on a mission to unite the German people by preserving the folktales woven into the fabric of German society, stories passed down through generations via word of mouth, yet never committed to paper. Little did they know the monumental legacy their work would have, destined to define the very essence of childhood for centuries to come. In 1812, the Brothers Grimm released their first volume of Children and Household Tales, a compilation of 86 traditional German folk stories. Despite doubts about the suitability of certain stories for children, the brothers included them all, believing they all held cultural value and advising parents to guide their children toward age-appropriate choices. Indeed, whilst collecting these pieces of folklore, the Grimms never intended the tales to be read by children. The stories in the first edition of Children and Household Tales include scenes of violence and darkness that have since been sanitized, and Snow White is no exception. In the original Grimm's rendition, the Queen is not Snow White's stepmother, but her own biological mother. The tale unfolds with the Queen, seated by a windowsill, embroidering as snowflakes fall outside. Accidentally pricking her finger, 3 drops of her crimson blood stain the pristine snow. In that moment, a yearning takes hold, as she wishes for a daughter with skin as white as snow, lips as red as her own blood, and hair as black as the ebony of the windowsill. The Queen's wish is granted, and 7 years later, Snow White has blossomed into a beautiful and enchanting child, stirring jealousy in her mother's heart. The breaking point comes when the Queen, asking her magic mirror, who is the fairest of them all, is met with a revelation. You, my Queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you. Enraged by this truth, the Queen devises a sinister scheme to have her young daughter killed. She commands a huntsman to escort her innocent 7-year-old daughter into the depths of the forest, instructing him to stab her to death and return with her lungs and liver, so she may eat them with salt. The Grimms likely included this gruesome detail because of the prevalent belief that witches consumed children, the Queen intending to utilize the organs in a magic spell to steal her daughter's youth and beauty for herself. Fortunately, the huntsman, moved by compassion, spares Snow White's life and urges her to flee deep into the woods to evade her mother's wrath. In a clever ruse, he presents the Queen with the organs of a wild boar instead of her daughter's. Lost and fearful, Snow White stumbles upon a quaint cottage adorned with 7 of everything, from beds and chairs to forks and spoons. Despite her hesitation, hunger drives her to partake in a modest portion of food and wine from each place setting, before exhaustion overcomes her and she falls asleep in one of the beds. Later that evening, the 7 dwarves return home to find the slumbering girl. Struck by her innocent appearance, they decide to let her rest undisturbed until morning. At dawn, Snow White awakens to find the dwarves watching her intently. Sharing her story, they invite her to stay with them, asking only that she cooks and cleans in exchange for their hospitality. Back at the castle, the evil queen consults her magic mirror once more, only to be confronted with a devastating truth. "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but little Snow White beyond the 7 mountains is 1,000 times fairer than you." Realizing that only the 7 dwarfs reside beyond those peaks, she seethes with rage and vows to kill Snow White at any cost. Thus begins her relentless pursuit of the young girl, marked by 3 attempts on her life. In her first scheme, the queen disguises herself as a peddler woman, enticing Snow White with delicate lace, which she eagerly buys. With a sinister grin, the queen offers to lace Snow White into her bodice, gradually tightening the cords until they become a deadly snare. As Snow White collapses, her breaths shallow and desperate, the queen flees in haste. With each passing moment, Snow White's struggles diminish until she lies motionless, a chilling stillness settling over her form. Fortunately, the dwarfs return in time, cutting the laces and releasing her from their deadly grasp. Undeterred by her initial failure, the queen returns with a poisoned comb, enticing Snow White with its beauty. Despite her initial caution, Snow White succumbs to temptation, letting the stranger place the beautiful comb in her hair and falls unconscious. Once again, the dwarfs intervene just in time, saving her by pulling the comb from her hair. Frustrated by Snow White's resilience, the queen concocts her deadliest plan yet, a poisoned apple. Disguised as an elderly woman, she offers the poisoned apple to Snow White, who hesitates, haunted by the dwarf's cautionary words against accepting gifts from strangers. In a cunning move, the queen poisons only one side of the apple, convincing Snow White of its safety by biting into the untainted side before offering it to the girl through the window. Moments after tasting it, Snow White succumbs to the poison, falling to the ground dead. The 7 dwarfs return home to find Snow White's lifeless form, yet she appears so serene that they cannot bear to bury her. Instead, they place her in a glass coffin within their dwelling, preserving her beauty for years to come. Years pass until one day, a prince seeking refuge with the dwarfs beholds Snow White's ethereal form. Enchanted by her radiance, he pleads with the dwarfs to allow him to take her corpse to his castle, promising to cherish her every day. Initially hesitant, the dwarfs relent in the face of the prince's unwavering devotion, granting him custody of Snow White's delicate remains. The prince remains true to his promise, spending every available moment by Snow White's side, speaking to the dead girl and eating his meals next to her, his sorrow palpable whenever duty forces him to part from her. However, his servants grow weary of the burden of carrying the casket everywhere to accommodate the prince's unusual fascination with the girl's body. One servant, driven by frustration, opens the coffin and in anger thumps Snow White's back, inadvertently dislodging a piece of the poisoned apple from her throat. To everyone's astonishment, Snow White stirs from her deathly slumber. That very evening, the prince and Snow White celebrate her miraculous awakening with their first shared meal together. Overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, they resolve to marry the following day, sealing their love with a vow to never be parted again. This original story doesn't specify how long Snow White remained in her death-like slumber, nor does it indicate whether she aged during that time. It simply states that she lay undisturbed for a long time without decaying. This leaves open the disturbing possibility that when she awoke, Snow White still resembled a child. The next morning, Snow White's mother approaches the magic mirror, only to be blindsided by its revelation that a new queen has surpassed her in beauty. Consumed by rage and suspicion, the evil queen infiltrates the young queen's wedding, desperate to unmask her rival. To her horror, she comes face to face with her long-lost daughter, alive and radiant at the altar. In a poetic yet harsh justice, the evil queen is sentenced to dance in red-hot iron slippers at the wedding, until she falls down dead. This folklore, with its dark and violent themes, stands in stark contrast to the beloved Disney rendition many of us grew up with. Yet, what adds an even more chilling layer to this tale is its potential grounding in reality. Remarkably, there are 2 real-life women whose lives closely mirror that of Snow White's. The first is Maria Sophia von Erthal, born in Lohr am Main, Germany in 1725. Though not formally a princess, Maria Sophia resided in Lohr Castle. A harrowing battle with smallpox during her youth left her with lasting effects, rendering her almost blind, but local records describe her as a girl of unusual loveliness. The mirrors crafted in the town of Lohr held a reputation for their unparalleled quality. It was said that these mirrors possessed an uncanny ability to speak nothing but the truth, thanks to the exceptional clarity and smoothness of the glass. Among these illustrious creations, Maria Sophia's family possessed one such mirror, a masterpiece adorned with a striking red and silver frame, standing at 1.6 meters tall, or 5.2 feet. Today, this magnificent-looking glass can still be found within the walls of Lohr Castle, now transformed into a museum. The frame of this remarkable mirror is adorned with French phrases translating to "for reward and for punishment," alongside expressions meaning self-esteem or pride. Could this be the evil queen's real-life magic mirror? Adding to the mystique of the region is the woods of Spessart, which encroaches upon the outskirts of Lohr. Here, wild animals roam freely, and in the 18th century, thieves lurked in the undergrowth, preying on unsuspecting travellers who strayed from the safety of the beaten path. Among the flora of this region grew belladonna, a poisonous plant notorious for inducing paralysis. Enthusiasts of this theory draw parallels between this deadly herb and the poison that plunged Snow White into her death-like slumber. Unlike the fictional Snow White, Maria Sophia never married. She dedicated her years to acts of charity and compassion. In her twilight years, she found solace and purpose within the walls of a convent school, where she died in 1796 at the age of 71. Rediscovered in 2019, Maria Sophia's gravestone is now a poignant relic in the Diocesan Museum in Bamberg, southern Germany. It bears the inscription, "The noble heroine of Christianity. Here she rests after the victory of faith, ready for transfigured resurrection." This phrase intriguingly echoes Snow White's awakening from a death-like slumber, adding a captivating layer to the parallels between Maria Sophia's life and the timeless fairy tale. Our second contender for a real-life Snow White is Margaretha von Waldeck, a German countess born in 1533. Renowned for her exceptional beauty, Margaretha's early years were marked by tragedy, losing her mother at the tender age of 4. Her father, Philip IV, Count of Waldeck, remarried Katharina von Hatzfeld, but her relationship with his children from his first marriage was strained, leading to many of them being sent away to live with relatives. Margaretha grew up in an area dotted with functioning copper mines, predominantly owned by her brother, where child labour was prevalent. The grueling work conditions, coupled with malnutrition, often left the children stunted in growth and with permanently curved spines, earning them the nickname "poor dwarfs" among the townsfolk. Margaretha's family alone owned 7 such mines, with workers crowded into one-room cottages, sometimes accommodating as many as 20 individuals at once. In Margaretha's village, an unsettling incident occurred when a man, frustrated by children stealing from his orchard, resorted to distributing poisoned apples among suspected culprits. He was arrested following the deaths of several of the children, capturing widespread attention throughout the region. At the age of 16, Margaretha embarked on a journey over the Siebengebirge, or the Seven Mountains, a region of hills in Germany, to reside with her uncle at Valkenburg Castle in present-day Limburg, Netherlands. In 1549, her father arranged for her to attend the Brussels court of Mary of Hungary. During her time there, Margaretha captivated the attention of Prince Philip II of Spain, who became enamoured with her. But their romance encountered staunch opposition from Philip's father, Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor and King of Spain, due to Margaretha's Lutheran faith, a Protestant denomination, and the lack of strategic advantage for Spain in the marriage. Suspiciously, Margaretha fell victim to a mysterious illness in 1554, igniting widespread speculation of foul play. Many suspected poisoning as the cause of her untimely demise, a theory upheld by several present-day historians. Prince Philip later wedded Queen Bloody Mary I of England. Margaretha's mysterious death is meticulously chronicled in an array of municipal records and historical documents, alongside her interment within the Franciscan monastery, founded in Brussels in 1238. Today, The Bruxelles 1238 Museum stands as a testament to this history, offering visitors a glimpse into the vestiges of the monastery beneath the Bourse in Brussels. Regrettably, the prospect of locating her grave, let alone a gravestone, remains slim. During that era, the corpses of women went largely unrecorded. Thus, discerning her remains from the multitude of female skeletons interred there presents a formidable challenge. Is it possible that these two women embody the essence of Snow White? Could aspects of their tales have shaped the folklore immortalized in the Grimm Brothers' writings? The Brothers Grimm's rendition of the tale undoubtedly draws upon a tapestry of influences. Folklore, by its nature, is intricate and subject to evolution over time, making pinpointing a singular origin very challenging. Snow White's imagery resonates across various folk tales and mythologies, showcasing the universal themes that echo through cultures. For instance, in Irish mythology, Deirdre, dwelling in the woods, foretells her destined love, a man with hair black as a raven's plumage, cheeks as red as blood, and skin white as snow. In The Young Slave, a 1634 Italian tale, fairies curse baby Lisa to die at 7 with a poisoned comb. Her mother entombs her in 7 crystal coffins, where she grows and ages in a death-like slumber. In Greek mythology, Ione, meaning snow, is renowned for her exquisite beauty, said to be the object of 1,000 men's desire upon turning 14. Hermes uses magic to cause Ione to fall into a deep sleep so he can lie with her. Later that evening, Apollo visits her in the guise of an old woman to do the same. In the Scottish folk tale Gold Tree and Silver Tree, the Queen, angered by a magical trout's proclamation that her daughter is the fairest of all, plots to kill her and eat her organs. But the king sends his daughter away to marry a prince in a distant land, saving her from harm. These examples merely scratch the surface of a vast tapestry of tales, demonstrating how Snow White's motifs echo throughout folklore. But if we strip away the fairy tale elements like dwarves and magic mirrors, many folklorists believe Snow White's story originally explained the changing seasons and nature's cycle of life and death. Snow White symbolized spring and summer, while the Queen represented the cold autumn and winter. Both women cannot exist in the world at the same time due to the jealousy of winter for the beauty of spring. Just as plants seem to die in winter but come back to life in spring, Snow White's deep sleep might symbolize the dormant period before life returns. Snow White's enchanting tale has captivated generations, and perhaps its future evolutions will enthrall many more. Yet, as we anticipate these retellings, let us not overlook the debt of gratitude owed to the Brothers Grimm. Their preservation of German folklore provides us with a precious window into cultural storytelling history, and has shaped countless childhoods. Thanks to their efforts, Snow White's narrative transcends mere entertainment, evolving into a cherished relic of history and a poignant reminder of storytelling's enduring power to unite, inspire, and resonate across the ages. But what do you think? Did Maria Sophia or Margaretha's narratives influence the Snow White folklore? Or maybe you have a different interpretation of the tale. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and feel free to suggest which real-life fairy tale origins you'd like me to delve into next. See you in a future video.